Hi, this is Mary McDonald, and you're on Mind Over Mother. And I know that this is a new site, a new store, a new blog, and I am just a mom out there trying to connect with other moms and help try and make everybody's life a little bit better and everybody's day a little bit easier. And I know that one of the first things that you do when you meet somebody is usually not talk about politics, because you stand a huge chance of alienating everybody. You have no idea what people's leanings are, all of that. So if this was a dinner party, I would be that terrible guest. But I'm gonna go there, and it's not to discuss a specific political ideology. It's to talk a little bit about the feeling that I think a lot of people on either side of the aisle have been having recently since the election and the 2017 inauguration. And what got me thinking about this is that I had a great, terrible lunch today with one of my dearest and best friends. And what made this lunch great is that I love this woman. She is smart. She's a mom of 4. We get along on a number of levels, and it's always wonderful to see her. What made it terrible is that by about the middle of the meal, we sunk into this existential dread about everything that's going on, whether you agree with it or not, whether you buy wholesale into this pitch that everything is terrible, everything is wrong, or the idea that things were great, but now everything's terrible, everything is wrong. It's just this heaviness that I've been feeling, my husband has been feeling it, this smart, beautiful friend of mine has been feeling, and I just feel like every time I think about it, every time I talk to somebody about it, it makes me crazy, for lack of a better word. It's every time I look on Facebook, every time I check the news, it's just like, what now? What next? It's such an inundating news cycle with so many things that seem new and unfamiliar and scary. It's really, really hard to get a handle on. And it kind of, this lunch and this conversation that I've been having for the last weeks really weighed heavily on me. And it kind of put a damper on my afternoon. And I was sitting around and thinking, how is this an opportunity for mindfulness? How is this something that I can handle a little bit better? Because it is possible to let it take over and let those inundating feelings sink a day. And of course, there is the argument to be made that maybe your day needs sinking. There's no way to sort of positive mind frame your way out of this one. And yeah, there is a big place for that. I mean, one of the best balms for a feeling like this is action. And if you're so inclined, there are tons of calls to action all over Facebook, all over the internet, for how to get involved in today's political climate. Yeah, that's certainly part of it. Doing something always makes me feel better, whether it's placing a phone call, signing a petition, going out and connecting with somebody. But how do you apply mindfulness to this feeling, this particular feeling? And the great lesson, I think, is by taking that time to really center ourselves, we can gain a little bit of perspective. And in a situation like this, I think that is warranted, and I think it's necessary. And I think some people are losing perspective, and that's why these conversations get so out of hand, and it's like, the sky is falling. By bringing it back to mindfulness, by really taking the time to center yourself and ground yourself in what really is and who you really are and where you really stand, you can start to alter your perspective and alter your priorities in this situation. And I remember in the days after the election, it may be no surprise that I'm on the left side of things. I went to the yoga studio where I practice, and a lot of moms go there, and several people burst out crying. They were feeling bad that their candidate lost. They were feeling scared about the future. And I just said, we went around and kind of shared, because it was, there was something in the air. And I just said, no matter what happens here, this is going to make me even more motivated to raise the sort of family that I want to champion, the sort of family that has the values that I want to cultivate, like inclusiveness and acceptance and the human rights of all beings. And when times get difficult for those sorts of values, when maybe there's opposition to those values, it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that I welcome, to be the family and have the children and espouse those values that are at the core of who I am and at the core of the world that I want to see and at the core of the world that I want my son to inherit. And so, yeah, days like this are difficult, and it's so easy to get snowed under and overwhelmed by all of these feelings of uncertainty and fear and anxiety. But you can always bring it back to your authentic self and what your values are and what they mean to you and how you can take action, take specific action to feel like you're moving forward and keeping those values alive in your life and in the life of your family, in the life of your children. How can you be a teacher? How can you be a guide for the people who you're shepherding along on this path? How can you transmit some of these values of inclusiveness, of acceptance, of love, and of really seeing and connecting with other people based on the principle that everyone has value? And so that's definitely something that I've sort of used as motivation to bring me out of this funk. I'm still kind of in the funk. That's why I wanted to record the video. But everything is a call to action and a call to sort of stand firm with who you are and reclaim what matters most to you. And I think that the family, that nuclear unit of the family, is the most powerful place for creating change. And so I know that there are a lot of difficult conversations threading in and out of everybody's lives right now. But I really think that mindfulness could be a piece of the puzzle in helping everybody reclaim their footing and get a more steady understanding of who to be and how to be in these new and uncertain times. So, food for thought, and thank you so much for watching.